Hi, in one of the previous videos, I have explained how to create a drop-down menu, and in this video, I will be explaining another type of interaction, which is by using buttons. So first, let's create our command. So our command will be called button. It's for testing buttons. Function header is button. And something we will need to import here is I'll be importing typing, and I'll be using T instead. And from Hikari .api, I will be importing action row builder. So this will be used for building our buttons. So first, I will make the initial response simple, so by sending an embed. So for example, let me copy this. So embed hikari.embed. Let's put a title. Test message. The description is a test message as well. There's a footer. So for example, right here, this should be we forgot the comma here. So right here, I'm sending a ctx.member avatar URL, and over here I will be creating a variable sender avatar. So first, we will have to generate our rows of buttons. So rows equals await generate rows, and then ctx.bot. So generate rows is our function name. So let's go and create our function. So async def generate rows, and then here is our bot. Our bot is lightbulb.botapp, this one. And then here tlist action row builder, and then rows tlist action row builder, and row equals bot.rest.build action row. And then for our button mapping, let me copy this and paste it in here. So our button configurations, and now we will have to build it. So for I in range of the length of this button configuration, if I divisible by 3 is 0, so we can change this number to any number we want. So this number shows the number of buttons in a row. So basically, if I put 3 after 2 buttons, if there's a third button, it will move below the first one, and then the fourth button is below the second one, and the fifth one will go down again, and so on. And then I equals 0 rows.append row equals, we can copy this again, and then for the label list, we'll be calling out the list. So if this is 0, it'll take this one. If it's 1, it will take this one. So this range. And then we can add our label to our buttons. So first is our button style. For the difference between each button styles, you can check the Discord or Hikari documentation. but here I'll be using the secondary button type I mean button style, and then set label, and then add to container. Finally, we can put this again, and we will return rows. This one's wrong. Okay, so what happens after we generate our rows? We will send our message by using the usual ctx.respond. We will send our embed and also a component which is our rows. Next is our message and lastly is await handle response, where right here we can send any variable we want. So here I created the variable sender avatar. I'll send it here. So that's it, we've created our buttons. So for example, let me comment this. And if we try to run this code, so let's try to run this code. Button. It sends the test message embed, and then we can see our buttons here. But if we click on it, there's nothing that happened because we haven't handled the response yet. So the next part, we will create a new function called handle responses. I'm sorry, it should be async def handle responses. And then in here is everything that we sent to the handle responses function. So the bot is lightbulb.bot_app, message is hikari.message, author is hikari.user, ctx is from this, and then we also sent a sender avatar variable. And this is a none. Next is for our interaction. I'll be copying this. So with bot.stream hikari.interaction create event, this is our timeout. So for how long the bot will wait for an interaction before it runs another code or like an error message. So filter this one. So this e.interaction.message equals message is pointing out that the interaction is for this certain message. So this embed and the component and the e.interaction.user equals author. This is who can interact with the buttons. So we can also set this as everyone or just the author. And then here as stream. So async for event in stream. We can copy this. And then so when we click on a button, the button sends a custom ID. So we can create a new variable. So CID or custom ID is event.interaction.custom ID. So what is our custom ID? This is our custom ID. So to handle the response, if for example we click on the checkmark button, so if custom ID or CID is a checkmark string, we will run the following codes. So let's say I'll copy the embed. First of all, we can edit the message, remove the buttons, and then replace attachments equals true. And then create our embed. And lastly, send our embed. So await message.edit embed. So what this code does is when we click on our first button, which is a check mark, it will edit the message and then send a embed. Let's change the description to yes. So it will send this embed instead. Next is what if we click on the other button? So that is our custom ID, our custom ID string. But in this response, I don't want our bot to respond with another embed. So if I want to delete the embed, we can use this await message.edit. So we remove the buttons, replace any attachments, and then for the embed, we will send a none. And finally, since we have to send something, a content of no. So what this does is it removes any components, attachments, and embeds, and only sends a message. And finally, for an error handler, I'll be using try and accept. So try await event.interaction create initial response. Initial response. Hikari.response type message update. And the accept is a Hikari not found error. Await event.interaction edit initial response. So this is a function from the Hikari API itself. And finally is what the bot will do when the timeout timer has run out. So here what I'll do is remove the buttons. So that is all for our handle response function. Let's try and run it. So first of all, let's call our button command again. Let's try and wait 10 seconds because that is our timeout. So 10 seconds, and the bot should remove the buttons. There is an error here. So in line 102, we forgot a comma here. So the error is right here. Since this is async for a function for event in stream, this one should be inside the for function. So inside the for loop, let's try and run it again. Call the button command and let's see. So it works. After 10 seconds, the bot removes the buttons. Next, if we click on the checkmark button, it sends a yes. And if we click on the X button, it deletes the embed and sends a no instead. And then the next thing is in this part. So for example, right here we have a sender avatar, and if I add sender name, so sender ctx.member display name, let's put this in a string. And so if I call this here as sender name and here as sender avatar, it doesn't work because we never sent the sender name variable into the handle response function. One way we can do this is by sending it, just like what we did for the sender avatar, and another one is by initializing the sender name variable as a global variable. So now it works. That's all for this video. See you on the next one.